We begin this morning in Minnesota, where voters have chosen their Republican nominee for governor in a closely watched primary that delivered a major upset. Minnesota House Speaker Lisa Demuth has won the Republican nomination, defeating businessman Mike Lindell and GOP endorsed candidate Kendall Qualls. Mike Lindell had the backing of President Trump. He finished second. You can see right now from the Associated Press on our website, 99% of the votes are in. Qualls had secured the endorsement of the Minnesota Republican Party. He finished third. Our crews were on the ground for the Mike Lindell watch party. Here's Mike Lindell speaking to the media after the results came in.
Finally show that that there's problems with the computers in our elections, so be it. I'm all for any election that's done with paper ballots hand counted, then we get rid of these computers in our elections. We're like a third world country. 132 countries don't have computers. You guys can sit there and go, oh, it's all about other cheating. There's always cheating in election, like in Minnesota here. 8 people can vote. I can vouch for 8 people. I didn't even have to show my ID today when I went to vote. But the problem is, if there was no mathematical or deviations tonight, but there was, and it came right at the end, it came about a half hour ago, that there's 36,000 vote and then 6,000 for me. They're inclined, if you just say, okay, people voted the same day of as early voting, at least it was like this, all of a sudden it went like this for me when the day of, and then it went straight up for her. It just doesn't make sense, you guys. So we need a day. We're going to look into it. This is what my teams have done. I have 300,000 people with Cause of America in all 50 states. I have the Election Crime Bureau I set up. We have to secure our elections. If I find there was nothing happened there and it was just a mathematical deviation of history that doesn't make sense, I will let you all know tomorrow. But I need till tomorrow to get reports from my teams, and hopefully we find the answers, because there has to be an answer for what happened up there. We don't know the counties that came in during that 36,000 vote drop, but we'll have to see. That's all. Anybody else? Anybody else got any questions? You guys waited all night. I'm taking your questions. Come on.
So what does the review process look like? You're obviously going to, look into the inconsistencies.
We've got different teams right now. I've been on the phone with 3 of them, and the one person said, yes, we've seen a couple anomalies because we got as some research. We got that feed, not just the media, not just the AP. We got that actual feed, and they wouldn't give it to us a few years ago. That guy particularly said there's only been a few anomalies, and then all of a sudden this big vote dump came in, which should have been day of for me. So that was very strange, and they'll say, and all of you can say, well, Mike, the percentage is 15%. You guys, when I'm favored by 9 3 days ago, there's something you got to look into, okay? That's all. Anybody else, you guys? I just want to know, I want to say one thing to you media. If it ends up I don't win, are you all still going to come out and harass me every day like you do? Where's the Star and Tribune? No, you guys are all right. All right. We'll all stay in touch tomorrow, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, you guys. Thanks.
Our Allison Steinberg was at last night's watch party. She spoke to Patrick COLBECK at the end of the night. Here's what he had to say.
Hi, everyone. Allison Steinberg here with LINDELLTV. We are just wrapping up at the watch party for the Republican nominee for the gubernatorial race here in Minnesota. Interesting turnout tonight. Lisa Demuth has about 43.8% of the vote as of now, versus Mike Lindell, who has about 32% of the vote, which is an interesting sort of turnout, seemingly some abnormalities here. Patrick, would you agree?
Absolutely. It's not the results we're looking for, particularly going into the election with polls as recently as 3 days ago that were pretty substantive polls. I mean, we're talking about large sample sizes, so this wasn't a rinky-dink poll, and they were showing that Mike was ahead by 6 to 9% across the board. There's only 1 out of 7 or so polls that had Lisa Demuth up, and she was only up by 1% in that poll. So there's, as they said in I Love Lucy, you got some explaining to do, because something is off. Now, maybe those were the honest results, but I'll tell you, we're going to go off and turn over some stones and find out exactly what the explanation is around that discrepancy, because something just doesn't smell right, and we're gonna put together a battle plan and address exactly what we think was a plausible scenario of what happened.
And I know Mike Lindell spoke with the press earlier today, and he actually laid out sort of the path forward and what that's going to look like now as, you know, we sort of look further into these results. What do you think, Patrick, needs to be done moving forward here?
Well, we're analyzing the data first and foremost. So I'm an engineer, so the first thing I'm going to do is go into spreadsheet mode. And we're already seeing some strange things happening where it's the same percentage of votes across multiple counties being allocated. And we know Mike was significantly stronger in certain counties than others, and you're still seeing the same percentage across the board. So we're going to dig into spreadsheet mode. We're going to look at that. Minnesota's also got a protect the ballot statute on the books, so that's something we're going to look at trying to enforce, make sure that there's no hanky-panky with swapping out of ballots or anything. And if it was a legitimate election, then we're expecting full transparency on what happened, because you should be bragging about how well this election was run, and be willing to open up your books and show us your cards face up, if you will, and we'll see what happens. And if that happens, Mike was very gracious, I think, tonight, highlighting and saying, hey, he's going to get behind whoever the declared winner is after that, but we've got some questions that deserve some answers first.
We'll be interested to see what happens. So everyone stay tuned to Lindell TV for all the latest developments. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Allison Steinberg. We're joined by Patrick COLBECK right here live in Minnesota.
Yeah, just like Mike mentioned, and as Patrick COLBECK just mentioned, be sure to watch my mornings here tomorrow, Friday. Patrick COLBECK will be on the show both days. Again, that's tomorrow and Friday. He will be giving updates on what they find there in Minnesota. Allison was also with Mike throughout primary day. She was there when he voted. Mike went to the polls. He pulled out his ID, and he was told he didn't need an ID to vote. Watch.
How is that? No ID whatsoever. You stick the paper into the machine and it's gone. I have no record of who I voted for. I have no record. They have no record of my ID. I've never seen anything like it. This is worse than I thought. And I believe we have in Minnesota where you can just vouch for 8 other people. Come on in. Yeah. We should have tried that today, Come on in,
Yeah. I actually read that because I was wondering if I could cast a vote today. It seems like I would have easily been able to have gotten away with it if I wanted to. You vouched for me, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very surprised, though. I thought it's worse than I thought. I mean, to take that, no ID. Did that shock you? I mean, it was
I'm from California where they do that too. But it is shocking. I mean, it should be a federal law that an ID is required.
Guys, we need to pass the Save America Act. We have to. You have to be a citizen to vote. Anybody could have walked in there and just gave him. And then he asked where I lived. I'm going, okay. What if I didn't have an address? Oh, no problem. No, I don't know about that. But what surprised me is you don't even get a paper copy of what you voted. You just goes into the tabulators and it's gone. So this is the thing what I'm going to do in the general election. What I'm going to do is encourage everybody. I set it up for the last election. I think it was the 2025, and we did it in 2024 in areas where everybody would request their mail-in ballot, but then not use it. Okay, and then come the day of, and if they say you've already voted, there's a problem because you go, no, here's my mail-in ballot, and this is a way we caught a lot of states a lot of places where they had voted for people that, especially California.
Yeah, we've seen it in California. What's next for Mike Lindell? We'll have to see. As he just mentioned, his teams are working to see what happened behind the scenes. Stay here with Lindell TV as more announcements from Mike should be coming out today and also this week. Turning our attention to South Carolina, the race for U.S. Senate is headed to a runoff. Senator Darlene Graham, the sister of the late Senator Lindsey Graham, finished first in last night's special Republican primary, but she fell short of the 50% majority needed to win the nomination outright. Graham received roughly 33% of the vote. She will now face Republican Congressman Ralph Norman, who finished second with about 24%. Norman is a member of the House Freedom Caucus. The runoff is set for August 25th. The winner will advance to the November general election where they will face Democrat Annie Andrews. And continuing our coverage of primary results, let's bring in Joshua Phillips, senior investigative reporter for the Epic Times. Joshua, good to have you on the show. Some wins, some losses, a lot going on last night. Big races we've been following. Let's start in Minnesota. A huge upset for MAGA and the Trump team who backed Mike Lindell. But Mike Lindell has not yet conceded the race until he knows for sure there were no abnormalities. So what is your take on that election?
Yeah, well, I think like Mike said, there should be audits. They should look into it. If it's everything's good, then great, let it be. But I do think if you have votes pouring in last minute, I do think that raises red flags, and unfortunately, we see that like way too often. With Mike in general, he's always the kind of guy who like never gives up. I love that about him. So we'll see what he finds with this, and good for him on that. I think it's necessary.
Absolutely. Yes. Mike Lindell is always standing, no matter the attacks or what happens, he will find a way. So, I can kind of guess what he'll do next, but you never really know. So, Mike Lindell, you can bet, barely slept a wink last night, working with his teams behind the scene to see what's going to come next. Interestingly enough, in this race, you had Mike Lindell, who was backed by President Trump. You had Kendall Qualls, who was backed by the Minnesota GOP, right? And then you had Lisa Dameth, who came out on top. What does that tell you about the Republican Party in Minnesota?
It means they had to come together a bit more, I'd say. It reminds me also of like what happened in Los Angeles and other areas where, frankly, it looks like Republicans have it in the bag. Then this random third party candidate comes out and, the one at the bottom comes out on top. I think Mike is right again to call for some investigations into it. We'll see what comes out. But I also think the Republicans definitely need to come together a lot more. I do think it's one of the flaws in the party that they don't work together enough. I think it is a problem, especially with elections like this.
You're so right. I tell people that all the time, Joshua, is that the problem with the Republican Party across the board, not just Minnesota, across the country. Look what's going on in the Senate with the Save America Act, the House as well. The Democrats, if they do anything right, and as much as it pains me to say it, they stick together through thick and thin no matter what. Republicans don't. And until we can get it together, America proved in 2024 what we wanted. And we handed it over on a silver platter. President Trump won the popular vote. We won the Senate. We won the House. We won the presidency. But yet, what can we really say has happened since President Trump took office? The one big beautiful bill is pretty much all we can celebrate. Huge get, a very big bill for the American people. Huge win there. But in the time that President Trump has been in office, we should be celebrating a lot more wins, but they don't stick together.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Trump has had some pretty good wins. The one big beautiful bill definitely was maybe the biggest, lived up to its name, but definitely the Save America Act. If we just got that, I'd be pretty happy. But
Yes.
I'm not sure Republicans are going to pass it. We'll have to see. Deportations, they're going pretty quick, but not nearly enough to even not even at a high enough pace to deport the people brought in just under Joe Biden. So we'll see what happens with it. But I do think the Trump admin, they have some good victories, but definitely they're being slow walked by people
Yes.
blocking everything he tries to do.
Deviations everywhere the president turns, but he's doing the best that he can. He's doing a wonderful job. We talked about Minnesota. Also, that was the governor's race, Michelle Tafoya. That was a huge win last night for the Senate race in Minnesota. Let's talk about that race. She was a sports broadcaster, made an appearance for a little bit on Fox News, and then she decided to run for Senate in her home state of Minnesota.
Yeah, well, again, that's a big win, I think. What I like to see in terms of Congress, maybe any elected branch, is people kind of coming up, just average person, not like some career politician. And I think the spirit they bring in is a more like kind of on the ground look. This is what the average American experience is. These are the people I represent. I really like that personally.
And you look at Minnesota too. You had Lisa Dameth, you had Michelle Tafoya, some women leading the ticket last night. So that was very interesting, and to see how the people voted there. Again, Mike Lindell will be out today. He said just last night. We heard it on the news this morning. He will be out today with more news for us. I need everyone to stick around for that here on Lindell TV. Switching over to South Carolina. The nation mourned the loss of Senator Lindsey Graham. His sister, in the middle of mourning, picked up the reins and continued on. She was sworn in as senator to take his spot to fill out the rest of his term. Decides to run for Senate in a special election, and comes out on top last night. Not enough to move her to the general just yet, but she is in a runoff. That will be at the end of the month. But this just goes to show you that the people of South Carolina love Lindsey Graham so much, they're entrusting his sister to take over for the long run.
Well, and I think she has a good shot at it. I think Lindsey Graham definitely, again, I know I just said career politician, but I think also he was a man with a lot of integrity. Trump, of course, backed his sister. I do think, again, she's a great person. We'll see what comes out from that too.
Yeah, and I just want to mention too before we move on, because I know we want to talk about everything elections and China interference, but I have to mention Wisconsin as well. Francisca Hong, a Democratic socialist, she lost her primary. That was a huge sigh of relief for all of America. So I would put that in the win bracket for us, that she is out and we don't have to worry about her.
Yeah, well, making sure the socialists don't win should be something that brings the Democrats and Republicans together. Hopefully, that's one thing we can all agree on. Actually, I think that's an important race too, because across the country, Democratic Socialists of America, they're trying to basically take over the Democratic Party from within. Their own statements are that they want to primary the Democrats, and the Democrat Party, they've not liked this for a long time. Say what you will about Democrats, but they really have rejected that part of their party for a very long time. One reason, of course, is, well, the platform is pretty dang radical. They're talking about, DSA is talking about, defunding the military. They want to get rid of the defense budget. They're talking about getting rid of the Senate. They want to get rid of the Senate. They want to have the president and the Supreme Court, justices appointed by the House of Representatives. And I mean, and that's just like the lighter end of it. In terms of their policies, it's effectively like a Marxist platform. It's if you were to take their platform and just mirror it with like Joseph Stalin, it's basically the same thing. Free house, free everything. Free ponies, and joking, free ponies for everyone. It's that type of platform. They want to give everything for free and effectively remake the entire country. I think it's actually a mistake they're making right now, because they're going off the win of Mamdani in New York. I'm in Jersey, but I work in the city. He won talking about economics. He won talking about affordability, not talking about a really extreme platform. And so, as we watch these elections go across the whole country, I think they kind of went too far. They took their mask off too soon, so to speak. And they're showing the true colors in ways that I don't think the average American is going to vote for. Not in swing states, especially not in areas where you have more Republicans. It's not going to happen, I think.
You're absolutely right. Their mask did come off. And Mamdani's also a smooth talker. He reminds me of Obama. Very persuasive, very calm. And the people on the left just flock to him. And so he's got that personality that people on the left are just attracted to. He makes our skin crawl, but for them, they love him. We watched Mike Lindell. He goes into the booth. Our cameras were rolling. He went to pull out his wallet to show his ID. The man behind the table said, "I don't need your ID." Mike jokes it off, laughs it off, says, You don't need my ID? Look, everyone, I don't need an ID to vote. We talked about the Save America Act. The viewers who are with me every morning know we talk about it almost every single morning past the Save America Act, on top of what just came out a couple of months ago with President Trump saying other countries, including China, have been involved in meddling in our U.S. elections. Let's take a look back at his announcement when he addressed the nation, and then we'll get your reaction on the other side.
The documents cover 5 major areas of concern. First, they show that over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files. That information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political party preferences, and other sensitive data that would be needed to register to vote and engage in other nefarious activities, which is exactly what was happening. This data loss presents an unprecedented election security nightmare. The intelligence even shows that China assigned a data exploitation unit specifically to this new project. Compounding the travesty, the second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people, in many cases, in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling.
Your reaction.
Yeah, well, that's something that should concern everybody. Yeah, so what Trump actually laid out was a picture of how the Chinese Communist Party tried to and did interfere in our elections. He mentioned, of course, the 220 million voter records that were stolen. The Chinese Communist Party then assigned a special unit to exploit data, its data exploitation unit. There were hidden documents of things they were planning to do and then evidence of them doing it. One example I'll give you. We found these burn bags, right? The FBI found these burn bags of documents that were supposed to be destroyed. In those burn bags, which, Kash Patel actually made public, inside those burn bags was a document saying the Chinese Communist Party had planned to rig the election using fraudulent mail-in ballots. And so the plan was they were going to use fake IDs, like driver's licenses, get people to register for mail-in ballots, and then use those to, rig an election. And then what's interesting, that document was hidden. That entire case was hidden from the American people. It was actually the same claim was made in the UK, and they took it very seriously. So the question is, well, if it was taken seriously in the UK, why not right here in America? Then we saw evidence of them trying to do it. In fact, in Detroit, they actually did find fake IDs being shipped in from China, Hong Kong, South Korea, funny enough, and a few other areas. Again, raising concerns that China was basically acting on the intelligence they had, that they were going to do just that, to use fake IDs to get, again, fake mail-in ballots and then vote in the election. I think that should have raised concerns. That should have been corroboration of a claim, and that should have been taken very seriously. Instead, they put those documents in a burn bag and tried to destroy the evidence. They also hid that from the president of the United States. They never told Trump. Again, this is going back to like 2020. They never told Trump when he was president that this was happening, and they tried to destroy all of it. I think that should concern everybody. Also in the documents, they found that not only China, but China, Russia, and North Korea, funny enough, little North Korea, and Iran, it says, all have the capability to alter the outcome of our elections. They all have the capability to do it. They don't detail how they would do it, but it says they could. And it also lays out a case, crazy enough, where they were trying to alter public opinion. So the Chinese Communist Party, it says, was paying journalists. Journalists were getting money from the Chinese Communist Party to attack the president of the United States, to divide the country, to push narratives against President Trump. And apparently some of those were coming out of China. Some of those narratives are coming out of China, and journalists here in America were working for the CCP pushing those narratives. It also came out, because there was a lot in it, also came out that different organizations, lighting the fires of civil unrest. It doesn't name organizations, but it does explain a movement very similar to Black Lives Matter. It basically says the CCP was pushing for racial divisions, mass protests, riots, other things like that to cause chaos on American streets and to make people turn against the president of the United States, Trump. So all of this was an operation by the Chinese Communist Party, according to these new documents.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, very worrisome. It doesn't matter which side of the aisle that you sit on. This is very scary. But what's going to come out of it? We have the proof. We knew all along. They called us conspiracy theorists. President Trump brought the receipts. He posted it on the White House website. People can go read for themselves. It's there. It's plain as day. Like you mentioned, the media was behind it. They kept those burn bags. They kept it away from the president. But what will come about it? I mean, there should be arrests being made right now.
There should be, in my opinion. I would like to see the journalists getting paid off by the CCP, thrown behind bars. As a journalist myself, I find it discouraging to think that other journalists are taking money from China, especially doing something as evil as this, destroying our country effectively. I think what they've done is terrible. I know on Trump's side, in terms of actions, he's trying to get the Save America Act passed. So he's saying, look, this is what took place. It was hidden from the president, hidden from the American people. There were people within the agencies who intentionally apparently hid this because of their own political bias. Investigations, audits actually showed that. They said that it was basically people not liking Donald Trump. And so they were hiding information on how America was effectively under attack. The backbone of our Constitution, our election system, was under attack by a foreign adversary. And they hid that from the president, not because they thought it was fake, but because they did not like the president. Now, look, if an enemy is invading your country and you intentionally leave the gates open because they're coming and you don't like, whoever's in charge, that's treason. That is treason. And so I would like to see criminal charges against these people who did this. We'll see if it happens, but I would personally like to see justice. And I think we need justice to set things right. I think this is a major injustice against the American people.
I agree with you 100%. Joshua, I'm so glad you came on the show today. Thanks so much for your analysis and keeping us updated again, because, the mainstream media, several networks decided not to air President Trump's address to the nation the night he came out with the proof on meddling in the U.S. elections. And then it's kind of been buried under the rug. They've covered it up. They don't talk about it, but we need to keep this conversation going to remind people that this is what's going on and something needs to be done about it. So I'm glad you came on the show today. Thanks so much for stopping by. Joshua Phillip with the Epic Times. Thanks for all the work you do.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
When we come back, there's a new base named after Senator Lindsey Graham, and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth is there for the unveiling. We'll take you there, but first, a message from the U.S. Park Police.
Now he's shaking up the knees. Could I come again, please?
I've heard so many great things about the Park Police. They love the country, they love this area, and we're taking it back.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98, queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Beer 6-piece towel sets. Towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus, free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including LINDELLTV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to LINDELLTV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
Welcome back to my mornings. Joint Base Charleston has a new name, honoring the late South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth joined Graham's sister, Senator Darlene Graham, South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster, and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent for the official unveiling. Hegseth also met with troops while he was there, shaking their hands and thanking them for their service.
We just launched an ad campaign at the Department of War called On the Shoulders of Giants. And that when you talk about the revolution, 250 years, you mentioned it, Mr. Secretary, you are standing on the shoulders of giants. And future generations will stand on yours. What you do now, what we do now will set the tone for your kids and grandkids, for my kids and grandkids, and that's what we're committed to, generational defense of this great nation. So what I say to my staff every day, I'm going to say to you, keep going. Just keep going. Do the next right thing. Be bold, be strong, be tough like you are, and keep going and know that we have your back every single day. God bless you. Thank you.
Yes, we do have their back. Hegseth told the troops he had a conversation with the president before the trip, and this is what the president told him.
I often ask him, I say, hey, Mr. President, I'm going to go see your troops, this time out in South Carolina. I always ask him, what do you want me to tell them? And his answer is always the same. He goes, Pete, tell them I love them. And he does. And, you know, I'm here with the great Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, along with your great governor here in South Carolina, Governor McMaster. They both wanted to come along and say hello to the troops as well. But he can attest to that. Scott can attest to that. He's in those rooms with me at the same time as the Treasury Secretary, because it's not just what the military can do. We've got the most powerful economy in the world as well. And when you've got a motivated Treasury Secretary who can pull a lot of levers because he knows how to do it, he can put a lot of pressure on adversaries. So actually, I'll give a moment here to...
Joint Base Lindsey Graham is in Charleston. Graham served 33 years in the Air Force, including active duty as a military lawyer, service in the South Carolina Air National Guard, and later in the Air Force Reserve. Now to our economy. there may be hidden items in bills Congress passes that never really make headlines. So today, we're telling you about the Railway Safety Act and what's inside. We have Patrick McLaughlin, that is. Patrick McLaughlin with us today. Hoover Institution economist. Patrick, good to have you on the show. You have an op-ed out in the Washington Examiner, and in it, you discuss the Railway Safety Act of 2026. Let's talk about it. The Senate version was reintroduced in February, the House version introduced in March. What's inside the bill that's concerning to you?
Well, the bill is being added into the overall Infrastructure Refunding Act right now. And, we do, of course, need to find ways to pay for maintaining our infrastructure, but it's adding in a lot of new regulatory layers as well. Specifically, it's telling the carriers, the railroads, and specifically how they need to operate. And it's essentially calling it a safety improvement bill. But what in reality it's doing, it's telling the railroads you must use certain people for certain jobs indefinitely, even though there's no evidence showing that that would increase safety. It's calling itself safety, but really it's a job protection act. And three things to know about it. First, it's going to make shipping costs higher than they would be otherwise. And of course, every single thing that we buy at the store has been shipped once, twice, probably several times. So the cost of those things are going to go up. Second, as I said, it won't increase safety. And in fact, in the long run, it could mean less safety because what it's going to do is force railroads to invest in things that they wouldn't otherwise be doing. They're going to be putting more crew on trains than they need to operate safely. And that's going to displace some investments from other areas where they could actually increase safety. And then finally, it's going to make some of those things that would have been shipped by rail instead get shipped by truck or by other modes. And there's consequences to that as well.
And let's talk about how it'll affect the American people, because you're saying that this could make costs for everyday goods, groceries, household items, online purchases. We have a list right here. There are hidden costs that you're saying could increase for the everyday Americans.
That's right. I released a study earlier this year where my co-authors and I looked back over 50 years of freight data. We looked across all the modes: trucking, shipping by water, airplane, and by train, of course. And we wanted to see what happens when regulation of these different modes goes up. And we've been regulating in this country these different modes of shipping since the 1970s very heavily. So regulations have been piling up for decades. What we found in this study is that when regulations increase by 5%, which is not a drastic increase, we've seen that happen quite a lot historically, prices of shipping also go up. So specifically, since this one's about rail, shipping by rail, a 5% increase there caused the price of shipping to go up by 2.3%. Now, that's the price that the shippers pay to the railroads. And of course, some of that's going to get passed along to you in the form of higher grocery costs. Every single thing that you buy is going to have some amount of that freight bill tacked onto it. And so where are these costs coming from? Again, this is the part that gets me. It's not that we want to have no regulation or regulations that are we don't want to prevent regulations from increasing safety. But here we're talking about regulations that are simply going to be increasing costs. This all goes back to there was an accident in Ohio, East Palestine, Ohio, that made a lot of news headlines about 3 years ago. And after that accident, the policymakers saw an opportunity to create a bill that would, again, quote, increase safety. And what that does is adds more people onto the train. There's a minimum crew size component here. It says that there have to be at least 2 people in the cab of every freight locomotive. That train that crashed, it had 3 people in it. So this bill would not have done anything for preventing that crash. Instead, what it does is add those costs, which will ultimately get passed along to you, the consumer.
So what can we do? It's really not talked about, Patrick. The American people really don't know about this bill, this act. the Railway Safety Act. Is there anything we can do? I mean, call your local congressman, but people, we're having a hard time to get people to do that for the Save America Act, which is so vital right now. So we definitely don't want prices to go up. People are already, as great of a job President Trump's doing, and trying to help the everyday average American. People are still struggling out there. They're living paycheck to paycheck. So the last thing we want to do is increase prices even more.
Yeah, there's an alternative way to go about doing this. I do understand the impetus in Congress to do something in response to an accident. They do need to show their voters at home that they're responding to this. But the way to do it is not to lock in a certain way of operating or a certain technology, and instead create some sort of performance standards. So what I mean by that is they need the train operators as well as truck operators, all these different modes of shipping, to just achieve some level of performance. However they get there, it should be up to them. Now we can give them the freedom of using more people on their trains if they want to increase the crew size, or give them the freedom to find other means. We're seeing a lot of automated inspections, for example, be deployed on the railroads right now. These are super effective ways of going. You basically put a machine on the front of a locomotive. It's got lasers and cameras attached to it. Go down the track and detect any faults in the track long in advance of what a human could have seen. Now, the current operations as stipulated by regulations is a human has to walk the track and look for those faults, but the machines are doing a better job. If we could just leave it to the machines and put those humans on other things like repairing the tracks instead of walking the tracks, we would have a much safer and lower cost operation overall. So what we need to communicate to Congress is, yes, you can do something. You should do something. Increase safety by whatever means you can, but make sure it's actually increasing safety. Don't just pass an act and call it safety and hope for the best when the evidence does not show that putting more people on the train is going to increase safety.
Good point there. Good investigative work too, as well. Again, you have an op-ed that's out. I encourage everyone to go out and read. Also, you are on the Hoover Institution website. People can follow you, an economist that, working for the American people. How can people follow you, Patrick?
Best thing is to go to my Substack, which is thirdorder.substack.com. I blog there regularly, usually one to two per week. So go sign up for that. I cover, as we've talked about here, railroad and other transportation issues. But overall, I cover regulation in general. Been tracking the growth of regulation for the decades and how that's been hurting our economy. In fact, one stat I'll leave you with here. I released a study a few years ago that found the buildup of regulations over time. And give you some numbers. You look at the rule book, the federal regulations that we had in 1970, there were about 400,000 commands in there, shalls and musts, telling you what you must do and what you may not do. Today, we have about 1.1 million on the rule in the rule book. And that has tremendous consequences for our economy. That has been slowing down economic growth by nearly 1 percentage point per year. So that means instead of 3% growth, we could have been getting 4% or sometimes even better on average. And that is one of the main themes of all my work. If you follow me, you'll see a lot of ways we can break down how regulatory buildup, regulatory accumulation over the years has been negative for our economy, but also looking at deregulation and how that's been positive, creating more jobs, allowing more startups, and lowering prices.
All right. Patrick McLaughlin, always good to see you and following your work. Go follow his Substack. A lot of great articles there as well. Thanks for stopping by today. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
When we come back here on My Mornings, a look at how veteran care is being upgraded in the form of 3D. We'll take you behind the scenes to show you what's being done for our veterans. That's next. And as a reminder, you can follow me on social media. I am at X at Vanessa B News, Vocal, Mike Lindell's social media platform. Make sure you are on Vocal. That's VOCL. There's an app and also a website, vocal.com. You can sign up today. Truth Social, President Trump's social media platform at Vanessa, just my first name. Instagram as well, YouTube, live right now at Vanessa Broussard News. Also on Rumble right now. If you are following Lindell TV on Rumble, there is a large chat going on right now that I'm following along. So if you're watching on Rumble and if you're in that chat, good morning to all of you. Thanks so much for stopping by and for watching my mornings. Also, don't forget, you can go to my website, VanessaBroussard.com. I have a newsletter that goes out. You can go to my website, VanessaBroussard.com, subscribe to my newsletter, stay connected. I would love to be connected with all of you. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be right back.
And like everybody else out there, I have used my arm, folded my pillows, got migraines in the morning from sleeping on poor pillows, and pillows are the problem. There is no bigger problem than a pillow.
My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs, and it holds that support all night long to take the pressure off your shoulders and keep your neck aligned.
One's the size of a quarter, one's the size of a dime, and one's the size of down. Inside every pillow, they're interlocked together. You see how that holds?
Oh my gosh.
That
It's
will
soft,
not
but
migrate.
supportive.
Wherever you set that, you get exactly what you need for your individual neck support.
I do all of my own manufacturing in my home state of Minnesota, and every part of my pillow is made in the USA. It's machine washable and dryable, and it comes with my 60-day money-back guarantee and a full 10-year warranty.
Sleep is one of the most important things to your health, and my pillow is one of the most important things to your sleep.
So go to mypillow.com or call 800-676-2147. Use promo code LTV to take advantage of this exclusive Lindell TV offer. Order now.
Mike Lindell here. The radical left and the deep state aren't just coming for our freedoms, they're coming after our money too. For years, they've been destroying our economy from the inside out with reckless spending, open borders, woke policies that crush our businesses. And now they've left us with an inflation disaster that's wiping out the savings of our hardworking families. They don't want us to be independent. They want us to be dependent on the government. Well, that's not going to happen on my watch. That's why I partner with American Independence Gold. It's a veteran-owned company that's helping patriotic Americans fight back by protecting our savings with real physical gold and silver. And right now, they're giving away up to $15,000 in free silver and a free gold IRA kit. A portion of all the profits go to 9/11 first responders and veterans at the Tunnels to Towers Foundation. The deep state can't touch your gold, so visit MikeLindellGold.com or call 844-714-4653 right now. That's MikeLindellGold.com. Take back control. Well, hello, everyone. Well, I'm turning 65, and let me tell you, Medicare has me confused. All the junk mail and the robocalls and everything else, it honestly feels like they rigged the system just to confuse us. Well, that's why I partnered and working with Chapter. They're independent, and they don't work for big insurance. They work for us. In fact, they're the only advisor that compares every single plan nationwide to find what actually fits your needs. If you're on the right plan, they tell you. If you're not, they're going to help you switch. And it's completely free. Just last year, seniors saved about $1,100 by finding a better plan with Chapter. So call Chapter at 234-LINDELL or go to askchapter.org/Lindell. You know, most people think water's just about filtration, but in reality, it's about balance. What gets removed, what gets left behind, and how the water actually behaves once you drink it. Well, many traditional systems focus on one thing, removal. Reverse osmosis, for example, strips water down completely. It may sound ideal, but it removes minerals that our bodies need. The Century Wellness System was designed with a different philosophy. It removes common contaminants like chlorine, fluoride, and PFAS while restoring key minerals like magnesium and improving alkalinity. It also does all this without tanks and without wastewater and without requiring a complicated installation. It installs in about 15 minutes under your sink, so instead of overcorrecting, it brings your water back into balance. please visit SentryH2O.com and use promo code Lindell for 10% off your next purchase.
Welcome back to my mornings. It's now 9:50 on the East Coast. Let's take a look at Wall Street opening bell numbers, a live look from MarketWatch.com. All in the green this morning, the Dow, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ. Driving the market today, the key U.S. CPI inflation report. Investors are waiting to see what inflation numbers could mean for the Fed. So right now, so far, so good over on Wall Street. In your news to go, as you start your day, new upgraded technology is being used to care for our veterans. Here's a look at 3D technology.
Hey everybody, look, there's sometimes I get to show you great places and good things, but then also show you one of the things that the VA does pretty much better than anybody else is our research. We're cutting edge because we take care of veterans and veterans alone. I'm sitting here, we've been in the 3D labs this morning. I mean, we're doing stuff here that give our surgeons a chance to work with our veterans, our patients on bone restructure, teeth restructure, dentures, bridges, these kind of things. Then we can take dentures such as this, and we have them on file, and instead of having to go 2 and 3 times of getting a measurement, we send them back, they get one time. Hey, and if somebody loses them, guess what? We just print another set. This is great. But also for all of our folks out there, this is going to be a big step up. We've talked a lot about prosthetics over the last year and a half and how we need to get this better. We understand the process. It's an old analog process. Again, yeah, I know, before you make the joke, VA is analog. Not anymore. We're digital now. We're moving into the 21st century. And this is one of the things that we're able to do. We're able to actually structure, give some personality to the prosthetics. These are all 3D printed as you look at it here, but it also gives us a chance to then, if you have a patient moving across country or moving other places, to say, hey, we've already got this done. We can make these and send them to them instead of having to rebuild the whole thing. Look, there's a lot of things at the VA we talk about. There's a lot of things that we do. Our veterans are always our number one. Our people are also the very best happen. And we have the best research going on. We have the best people going on, and we're always going to be doing this. The other thing is we're working with not only our VA community, but our community. Because you know what? When we as VA, as the largest integrated healthcare system, we raise the standard, everybody else follows up. That's the way it's going to be. I'll see you next time.
It's always good to see when our veterans are being taken care of, and that's great technology that they are putting together in 3D for our vets. Also in your news to go, here's a look at President Trump's schedule for today. At 8 o'clock this morning, he held an executive meeting. At 10:30, he will greet law enforcement and military service members. So that's coming up in about 30 minutes. At 11 and 12:30, policy meetings, followed by signing time at 2:30 this afternoon. He ends his afternoon with more policy meetings. So he has a pretty packed day there in the Oval Office at the White House. Make sure you're following us on social media and online at LINDELLTV.com for all your news updates throughout the day. And never miss a newscast in the mornings. You can watch anywhere on the go if you have the Lindell TV app. If you don't have it, you can download it right now. It is free in your app store, also on your phones and on your tablets. And we leave you today with our Bible verse of the day from the book of Corinthians. The Bible says this: "For God is not a God of confusion, but of peace, as in all the churches of the saints." And that'll do it for us here this morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will all see you same time, same place tomorrow. Don't forget, Patrick COLBECK will be on the show tomorrow and Friday, and I'm sure he'll have a lot to say about the Minnesota election. So make sure you're tuned in right here on my mornings tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. We leave you today with more sights from Joint Base Lindsey Graham, where Secretary of War Pete Hegseth visited with our war heroes. Have a great day.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust to your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got my pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98, queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Piers 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus, free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including LINDELLTV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to LINDELLTV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
And like everybody else out there, I have used my arm, folded my pillows, got migraines in the morning from sleeping on poor pillows, and pillows are the problem. There is no bigger problem than a pillow.
My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs, and it holds that support all night long to take the pressure off your shoulders and keep your neck aligned.
One's the size of a quarter, one's the size of a dime, and one's the size of down. Inside every pillow, they're interlocked together. You see how that holds?
Oh my gosh.
That
It's
will
soft,
not
but
migrate.
supportive.
Wherever you set that, you get exactly what you need for your individual neck support.
I do all of my own manufacturing in my home state of Minnesota, and every part of my pillow is made in the USA. It's machine washable and dryable, and it comes with my 60-day money-back guarantee and a full 10-year warranty.
Sleep is one of the most important things to your health, and my pillow is one of the most important things to your sleep.
So go to mypillow.com or call 800-676-2147. Use promo code LTV to take advantage of this exclusive Lindell TV offer. Order now.
When you read one news source, you get one side. When you read two sources, you get an argument. Read 40 sources, and you get the truth.